Welcome to Incognito Islamic Productions.
If we really sat still for a moment and thought about our very existence and who we are and where we are and thought about the world around us, honestly, I really believe most people won't be atheists. The human being has the ability to just contemplate and reflect upon his existence in the world around him in such a way, in a very simple way, which would naturally lead him to the conclusion that there is a creator. Not only is there a creator, but he deserves worship. Let me draw your attention to the 3rd chapter of the Qur'an, verse 190. God says in this verse, "Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, the entire universe, all of existence, and the alternation of night and day, in these things are signs for people of understanding, people of reflection." God is pointing us to his creation, the world around us, right? And if we stop and think about the world around us, it's comprised of matter, but organized and arranged matter. And not only is it created or brought into being, but it's set into motion. It has a function. It's moving. And this is why God, and it's something that really puzzled me for a very long time. Why is it that God mentions, indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and then he specifies in the alternation of night and day? And then it occurred to me, and I may be wrong, but these are just my reflections, that not only is God mentioning that things are created, but he's also giving us insight into the fact that they have function. That the universe and the world around us, including us as human beings and our bodies and everything about us, is functioning. It's functioning in an ordered way. When you stop and think about that for a second, you start to question, can atheism or naturalism ever be true? Because think about how much it has to account for now. And not only is it created, not only does it function, but then there's another part of the puzzle. It's in a very mysterious way useful to us. And God makes mention of this in the Qur'an too, that he has subjugated everything for us, including the stars, and I've made mention of this before. And when you really sit and think about the world around you, and you start to think about the way man throughout history has used the world around him, used the resources, natural resources, used the materials, and used them in a way that they've been beneficial to man, and continue to be beneficial to man, that starts to really puzzle you now. That not only is the world created, and we live in a created world, not only do we exist, but there's function and order in the world, and it's functioning in a very beautiful, precise way. And not only that, but it's also useful to us. It is literally been made in a way that's subservient to us. We can make use of it. We can make use of the energy from the sun, the light of the sun. We can make use of the trees and the plants around us. We can make use of the raw materials, the metals that we have at our disposal, etc., etc. When you start to think about this, think about any, for example, as a man-made structure in the world, the Eiffel Tower, for example, right? It's literally constructed of steel or iron, I don't know, but metals. Man has had the ability to extract raw materials, to envisage a structure that's constructed out of these materials via his brain and his mind, which is obviously ordered in a way that allows him to do this, and then to construct that tower. So it stands today and we marvel at it. And we say man-made, but we forget that the brain and the mind and the intellect that made it is still not accounted for. We're trying to sign that off by saying, random physical processes, just random occurrences. If we really stop and think about this, it will just start to blow your mind. And then on top of this, things are useful for us, but on top of this, we can connect with them. We can have an emotional relationship with things and people around us. And that in itself is another very profound thing. We can experience love. We can experience or feel affection. We can give love. We can experience a whole host of emotions and have relationships. Again, how do we account for these? What do these mean even in the absence of God? And this is why I always say, when you remove God and you turn away from God, you are literally degrading yourself, because you're stripping yourself from being able to ever provide an account for all of these things, to truly make sense of all of these things, to give them their due. And if you really stop and think about these things and you reflect upon them intuitively, I guarantee if you do this instead intuitively and rationally, you'll come to the conclusion that there is someone that's put this in order. There's someone or something that's made this the way it is. And not only do I recognize this, but as soon as you recognize this, there should be another natural feeling that emerges within you, which is that, man, I need to thank this being, this thing, this being. I need to be grateful, because it's a part of my nature to be grateful. We say thanks for at least the virtuous, honest, sane human being would give thanks for the smallest act of kindness that's done to him or her. What about this act of kindness that's been bestowed upon us, which we can never, fully grasp or understand? Every breath we take, every moment of sight that we have, every smile that we feel from our hearts when something beautiful happens or something good happens. When we look at our children in the face and we smile at them, and that emotional connection that we have with them. Each time we do something good for someone else, and we feel good and they feel good, and we feel good because we've made them, we've touched them in a very special way. We can't account for any of these things without God. We can't account for any of these things without God. And it's sad that we just obviously for other reasons, but our want to deny God leads us to literally end up denying everything else, removing meaning from everything else, to the point where you end up with nihilism. Then the funny thing is, we want to sit there and we want to have a cake and we want to eat it too, right? The world we hold on to pushes us to nihilism, yet we don't want to live that way. Yet we live with meaning. We live with purpose. We live enjoying the world around us and deriving pleasure from life. I mean, it's extremely hypocritical. It's hypocritical and it's unjust. If an honest person really sits and reflects upon this, man, you will turn towards your Creator and you will thank Him, and you will try to seek Him out and get close to Him. And this is why the Qur'an, the very first chapter of the Qur'an, begins with, all perfect thanks and praise belongs to God, the Creator, the Rabb, the Lord, the maintainer, the sustainer of the worlds and everything that exists. And if we can't acknowledge this, I don't know how we can value our lives from that perspective, or value our lives in any way then.